Bragg's in the stands, back and better than ever. But first, a word from a good friend of ours.
Hey, this is David Kaplan from ESPN 1000, the Cap and J Hood Morning Show, and NBC Sports Chicago. Do what I do. Watch Bragg's in the Stands with Greg Braggs and Jake. Must-watch television. Take that.
Braggs and Jake.
With the Bears, they started this new tradition last year where they celebrate their wins the correct way.
Waddle and Sylvie, ESPN 1000, don't miss it.
I know what you mean.
It's like their own Philly.
Okay. Okay, I think what it is.
We shouldn't be showing this. Am I crazy?
What a great sign that is. What have I told you? 17 minutes of rain would wash away 108 years of drought.
Do you see this team growing into the team that you were in 2005?
Great claps, everybody.
All I gotta say is, Greg Braggs, you are ridiculous.
Back and better than ever. Uh-oh.
There you go.
This is
There you
some
go.
good stuff. I like this music. Yeah, I still got a little lag on my video for whatever reason. Whenever I play my videos, it takes a second for it to come back. But that's okay. This is Bragg's in the Stands, and we're here to talk some Bears football, get you ready for we're going to talk all NFL when we get Johnny B in here later on, and he's going to be doing his duck race giveaways, the 2 Jordan pictures that he is gracious enough to give away. If you stay tuned here later on, he's going to announce the winners. So we're excited for that. But first, we're going to talk some Bears football. We got our guy Lester Wiltfong from the Windy City Gridiron, the main man over there, and we're excited to bring him on in just a little bit, in just a few moments, actually. We're going to talk some Bears here before we bring him on. And, of course, last Sunday was a beatdown, or Monday night, I should say. Just a complete beatdown. We covered it on the post game, and it just seems like the whole Brian Griese thing still, you knew it was going to linger over into the week, even though Foles tried to explain it away that night, because the explanation was just kind of iffy, and Nagy was just so uncertain about it. And what Brian Griese said on the telecast just was striking. I mean, from the Tampa Bay game, when you saw Matt Nagy and Nick Foles, not really, or it seemed like Nick Foles was trying to tell him, this is what we need to be doing. And there was just a very
had them on their heels.
Very heated discussion, almost a disagreement of the mind, perhaps. And then you hear Brian Griese say on the telecast, as Jason Leisure, reported and put on Twitter, Brian Griese said that Nick Foles told the ESPN crew that sometimes Nagy sends in a play call and Foles already knows it won't work because he doesn't have enough time after the snap. And it is something, because that reminds me of the days of Mike Martz and Jay Cutler, when he got caught on a hot mic on a Monday Night Football game, where he's getting destroyed because Mike Martz continues to call 7-step drops to try to throw these deep ball touchdowns, and they don't have an offensive line that could block either. It was probably Jamarcus Webb or whatever bum they had back then, Frank Omiel or whoever, and the floodgates were open, and Jay Cutler's getting killed, and one time it got caught on the mic when, once again, Mike Martz is calling another 7-step drop. Hey, tell Mike Martz, fuck you. I mean, he straight up, it got caught on the Monday Night Football, hot mic. You could hear it on the telecast. And this is what this reminds me of, is Nick Foles is getting the call in, probably 12, 15 seconds left on the play clock. And he's sitting there like, hey, Nagy, this play isn't going to work because I don't have enough time to, after the snap, to get the throw off. And how many times have we seen it with Nick Foles this year? He has not had time to throw. But as I said, the whole Brian Griese quote just really lingered over into the week, and we finally got like a clear explanation from both Matt Nagy and Nick Foles. So I want to play both clips and get your reaction from that, Jake.
Hey, Coach. After the broadcast suggested in some way some sort of malcontent with Nick and yourself, I mean, can you just kind of clarify where you guys are at this week? And, he said after the game it was a miscommunication. Just so moving forward, we know where you guys are at.
Absolutely. Yeah, Stacey. I don't know. It was brought up to me at the end there with you guys. And again, I can't answer what was interpreted by Brian Griese. I don't know how he took it or what he took other than what he said. But I do know that in the times that Nick and I talk, and every time we talk, it's very collaborative, and it's just something that I have a ton of confidence in the conversations that we have because they're so real. And so, even to the point of afterwards, late after the game, through I guess when everything was brought up, Nick and I we had a long talk, a really good talk about just clarifying what I guess was interpreted by Brian. Like I said, I don't know what exactly how he took it, but for us, we are in such a good spot with our relationship. It's very, very healthy. Everything we do together. I mean, and that's who we are as a team and as a culture. But I always want to know what Nick's thinking. And, when he has an idea or a thought, I told everybody on the front end before that if you can't listen to those suggestions and thoughts, then you're crazy. And that's kind of where I'm at with that, but we're in a really, really good place right now. And couldn't be happier with where things are at with our relationship there.
Thank you.
No problem.
That was very sweet. They do everything together. They eat dinner together. They watch movies together.
I think the most striking thing you took was that he revealed to Foles that Foles came right into his office right after all this happened, so you could tell they knew that they had screwed
That's what
up
I would
in some
expect.
way,
I mean,
shape, or form.
Yeah, Foles is such a stand-up guy. I can't imagine any situation where he wouldn't be as cordial and respectful as he possibly could. That's why I do kind of agree that maybe this was taken out of context by Brian Griese, but in a way that I can understand that there are times when these things happen, but I doubt it was as abrasive as maybe Brian said it on the broadcast.
Sure. And then this was Nick Foles doubling down on his explanation from Sunday, and then with a little more clarity here yesterday. It was
good. How are you doing, Pat?
I'm good. Matt was just telling us that you and he had a long conversation Monday night, kind of after this whole Brian Griese thing, and he talked about what a good relationship he has with you. Was that on the plane? Where was that? In can you tell us kind of what the vibe of it was?
Yeah, I mean, it was right after I talked to y'all. First thing I did was go straight to his office because I think it's important. Y'all hear me talk about conversations and relationships, and even though that wasn't true what Brian said, it was important for Matt, Coach Nagy, and I to speak about what was said for our relationship. It doesn't matter if you're in marriage or what. If you keep something, away from your wife and you don't ever talk about it, if you're married, it turns into something that it shouldn't be. So that wisdom right there made me realize, hey, I'm gonna go talk to Coach Nagy. I have a great relationship with him. We had a really good conversation, and that's what's important is having those relationships with your coaches to where you can actually go in there and talk like men and put it all out there on the table, so you can just move forward in the appropriate way. So it was really good, and I'm glad we talked.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is a non-issue. I don't really think it's anything to get bent out of shape about. I do understand.
This is where I disagree with you, because I think Foles is lying for one. I believe what Brian Griese said on the telecast. Now, I think Foles didn't realize he was going to say that on the telecast. Like Foles was saying in the presser, he wants to help the broadcasters because he respects their job. So he was just trying to give Brian Griese clarity, like, hey, this is why I don't have time in the pocket, because Nagy's still trying to call plays that we don't necessarily can run yet. And I don't think he realized Brian Griese was going to then say that on the telecast. So I don't think he was lying. And I do think that dives more into this miscommunication, and it really stands out. What really stands out to me is Foles is old enough and been in this league long enough to tell Nagy, hey, this ain't right here. And I think that reverts me back to last year watching Mitch through this whole thing. And at one point, Nagy got real tough with Mitch on the sidelines and was like, you got to buck up. You got to get tough right here. Or he said something. I can't remember. It was caught on a hot mic. It was the Redskins game or something. Stop being a baby or whatever. And I just think Mitch would never have the confidence or the know to tell Nagy, hey, this play doesn't work. He's just trying to run whatever Matt's going to call because he respects him as the coach. Foles has been a veteran, been in the Super Bowl, ran the system, and he's got a different perspective to this and is able to kind of tell Nagy a few different things. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes, and hopefully they can start to get on the same page, because clearly at this point they are not. But that leads us to our guest that we are bringing on from the Windy City Gridiron, the original gangster of the Windy City Gridiron, Lester Wiltfong. And I say that because, Jake and I have been following the Bears, and we've been best friends our whole lives. And, before Twitter, there was only so many different avenues to talk Bears, whether it was just with your friends. And then when the internet came, you could find websites. And one day, both of us came across a Windy City Gridiron, and these are before Twitter days. This is where you could only go to a forum and argue about.
I wasn't on Twitter at the time.
I'm not sure how far your archives go back, but I know I wrote a few articles about fanboying for Jay Cutler just as much as I did for Mitch Trubisky. So those are some, and I can remember even a Mark Bradley article I wrote and posted.
I wrote an article about using poison pills to get OJ Atagwe at one point, and I wrote an article about the pros and cons of getting of Tim Tebow being a Bears quarterback at some point. So
what's that been like? You know, being in this kind of Bears coverage through, you know, this whole kind of social media evolution from those days before Twitter to where we are now, and like how big everyone, you know, with a computer, you know, or a phone can cover the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like you guys at first. Like when I first decided I wanted to do something as far as, you know, getting involved with writing, I actually was writing on the sporting news. They used to have a real a social media type of thing on the sporting news where it was based on fantasy, but you could also put a blog on there. So that's actually where I got started with stuff as far as writing. That was 16 years ago or so. And then they actually shut down that aspect of the site. So when they were doing that, I was like, well, shit, I got to find somewhere to write, you know, because this is, you know, I'm doing this now. This is my thing. It's fun. Right. So I found a few places, and it all just kind of felt like it wasn't really a lot of interaction. And then when I came across WCG, it was like, oh, okay, this is where everybody's at. So, I mean, it wasn't as big as it was back then, but we still had a lot of interaction. You know, the fan post section where, like I said, what the two of you guys wrote on, anyone can write there. So that's how I got started.
Right.
I was doing stuff consistently there, and then the manager at the time said, hey, why don't you come aboard and be a front page writer for us? I'm like, I don't know what that means, but sure, whatever. And then, you know, the rest is history. Then, like, I was doing that for so long, and then finally they're like, you got to get on Twitter. Like, what the hell's Twitter? You know, no idea. But now it's like, I mean, we're all doing it. So it's just cool how the whole social media aspect has really taken off. And I mean, there's positives and negatives, but I think for the most part, it's mostly positive.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, before it was you guys to argue on the fan forum pages, like even during the game threads, I can remember some great interaction. And then the only way to really watch any tape breakdown was your boy Roy. Whatever happened to that guy, you know? And now we got all these different guys that break down film, and so now we've got a Bears team all these years later that, you know, still hasn't won us a championship. And
same formula, good defense.
I was high. Yeah, I was high. I was like, man, there's no way this team's not making the playoffs. And then after Sunday and that beatdown they took, and just looking as abysmal as they did on offense, Lester, where is your mindset now with the Chicago Bears team? Are they going to sneak into the playoffs, or are they going to miss it?
You know, I'm the same place you guys were. I was really confident heading into the Rams game. You know, I thought the Bears had shown me just enough on offense where I believe, okay, they're close. You know, the Foles and Nagy have said, you know, they say just the right things, and they seem really, really pissed off enough where, hey, they're going to get this thing right. There's issues with the line, obviously, but, you know, they had some really tough defense that they went against. I figured the Rams game, national stage, this would be their breaking out moment. Finally a chance to shut up the doubters and the critics, and they got their butts handed to them. So I'm kind of, like I said, I'm right where you're at now. Now I'm really having my doubts. I think the 5-1 start is enough to might sneak into that last wild card spot, but it's going to be tough heading out. I mean, this offense has to get their butt in gear.
Let me ask you this. Since the Bears started 5-1, and, you know, it seems like it'll be right on the cusp of making the playoffs or missing it. If they miss it at this point, starting 5-1, now that Mitch has been lifted, you can't use that as an excuse, especially since you started 5-1. You can't say, hey, we didn't make it because of Mitch. Do you think that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy will be fired if they do not make the playoffs?
I think if it's an epic collapse, like they only end up with 6 wins, maybe. And if they're 8-8, 9-7, I think there's just no way you can make that move. Some franchises would. We've seen it happen in the past. I just don't think the Bears are a franchise that'll do that. The only time they've really done it is with Lovie Smith back when he was 10-6. But that was one of those things where it was a new GM. You know, everyone knew it was his last chance to be in there. I think that the Bears would have fired him even if he would have made the playoffs, just because Emery wanted to have his own guy in there. Right. I just think the way that the Bears management has always been, they kind of give guys their chances. And I think if like I said, if they finish 8-8, 9-7, that's still going to be the whole Nagy era with a winning record. And I think they'll give him a chance. I think they'll give him a chance to get his quarterback in the offseason. I mean, Foles was this guy that was convenient this offseason. But, I mean, he's not a franchise guy. He's not the guy that's going to be here for the next a few years. So I think that if they don't make it, they're going to get one more shot at it. and go from there. Unfortunately, it's like purgatory. If you're not really, really bad, you know, there's no chance to draft that stud. So, I mean, is it Dak? Is that the guy coming in next offseason? Who knows?
You know,
Yeah.
that's the hard one to say. We got our guy in the chat, Brandon. He says you're the second best Lester in Chicago. I'm assuming behind John Lester. Are you a
Yeah,
Cub fan or
probably.
a Sox fan?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not a Sox fan.
Okay.
That's
good.
The Cubs are my second favorite team.
Okay.
I'm actually a Tigers fan.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I got a good buddy that's a Tiger and a Cub fan. So my last question before I kick it over to Jake is, you know, we did our post-game show and I was a little sauced on the whiskey and I couldn't help myself but feel like Mitch needs to get back in there. And I know I'm the truther, so that's just so predictable of me. But when I watch them now with this clarity, and I want Foles to succeed, I really do, but if they can't block for him, he's a sitting duck, and we saw that. And I get we're not going to play Aaron Donald each week, so I'm willing to temper my freak out moment and see what. But if they do this again on Sunday and they can't score, the cries for this are only going to grow. And I thought I was the only one saying it on Sunday night, and apparently not, because it has been a conversation all week, and it only seems to stand to reason at this point. If they're not going to get a left guard or any kind of offensive line help, Nick Foles is just going to get sacked a million times. Am I overreacting and thinking that Mitch needs to come back in, or what are your thoughts there?
I mean, if you look at the actual sack numbers, Mitch, you know, he's been sacked more than Foles has. I think it's almost twice as much. Even with Foles getting sacked 4 times his last game, the sack percentage with Trubisky, whether that's because he just takes too many unnecessary sacks or he's not quick enough to get the ball out, you know, he actually gets sacked more. But like you're saying, though, you know, Mitch's issue was he was having a hard time, you know, going through all his progressions. But if this line ain't giving Foles the time to go past 1, 2 to 3, then why not get the more athletic guy in there? I don't think they'll do it just because the switch was made. You know, like I said, this is the guy that they wanted from the start because he understood the offense. So I think better for worse, it's going to be Foles. But I do think Foles will get hurt at some point just because that's a law of averages. He's been hurt pretty much every year he's had a chance to play. He's getting hit a lot. So I think we'll see Trubisky at some point.
So are you not? I'm sorry, Jake, but I gotta slide in here
because we got to get it going.
Well, yeah, it's because to me, now that we're getting a little more clarity with Foles in there, do you think with this whole they can't run the ball, they can't pass block? You know, Mitch could only hit one read, but now we're learning that you only have time for one read with this offensive line. Have they hindered him? Is it the offensive line that is hindering the quarterback and the coach, or is it the scheme? Should they be running more power type of offense and then rolling out off the power stuff, or is this an RPO thing that can work with this team? I can't decide if it's they're talking about on Cap and Company or Cap and Hood in the morning. Is it personnel or is it scheme? What is your opinion on that?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Nagy's still trying to find his identity as an offense, which is sad because it's you know 3 years in here, you know. But if the line is not a power blocking line, it's not who they are. You know, there is no, you know, you need some nasty if you're going to be that kind of team. And the Bears don't really have that up front. I mean, they have Massey, but at the end of the day, Massey at best he's an average right tackle. I mean, he's not really going to get after it too much. You know, so at this point, you kind of have to just plug in and keep doing what you're doing and hope something clicks at some point. The thing that Foles brings that the Bears weren't getting is his ability to decipher things pre-snap. That's one thing where they were having a little issues before with Trubisky. Some of the stuff that he saw as far, you know, getting the protection set, you know, early, he was having a little hard time doing that. You know, there were some free blitzes where he just, you know, that's on the quarterback and he wasn't recognizing him. So that's why some of those sacks he was taking. You know, Foles gives you the cerebral aspect pre-snap and post-snap, but everything that happens post-snap now it's out the window because like we were talking about, the line is having a hard time with the pass protection. And I mean, it's not like it's coming from all over the place. You know, this last week was mostly interior with Donald, but there was some stuff on the edge with the blitzes, and that's again because of Donald. So let's see what happens against the Rams. The Rams don't have quite as much of a good pass rush as LA does. There's no Aaron Donald over there. They have a couple good guys, but it's nothing at that level where you always have to watch where they're at. So if it's just as bad this coming up week, then who knows? I mean, then at that point, what do you do with the whole season?
Sure.
Yeah, well, they're going to definitely be shorthanded. It seems like it might be Sam Mustipher starting center at this point. Cody Whitehair has not practiced yet. Allen Robinson has not practiced yet. Cordell Patterson hasn't practiced yet. Khalil Mack hasn't practiced yet. So it's going to be it's going to be an uphill climb for these guys to really kind of turn around when they're subbing in guys now on this line. So what can Matt Nagy do? If we're saying, is it the O-line, is it the play calling? What can Matt Nagy do as a play caller, even though you have Foles back there who's not a mobile guy? What can he do to mask this bad O-line play and try to, get these guys rolling?
I think at some point Nagy has to realize he does not have the type of team to run a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets. I think his best bet would be to keep things spread out as much as possible. Let Foles see where everything's coming from. Let the offensive line see where the 5 guys that got a block coming from. If you keep things spread out quite a bit and maybe have just one tailback in the backfield, now you can set pass protection based on the mic, and you know exactly where you're going to go with the ball. Let Foles do some more RPO stuff because that's something he has thrived in the past. Because right now, the run game as it is not working. But if you let Foles kind of decide when to hand off and when to pull, maybe he'll get a little more stuff as far as the blocks up front where you can get a few yards here and there. And then with Montgomery, he's not a breakaway threat, but he's a strong runner. If he gets a little bit of crease, that's all he needs. And maybe the RPO will help give him that little bit of crease to make some room.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's pretty apparent how much these guys miss Tariq Cohen. And obviously it's very apparent how much they miss James Daniels.
Yes.
And to slide in real quick, because I know, Jake, speaking of the play calling, you did want to, because Lester, he was asked, one of the other big stories aside from the Brian Griese thing was he did kind of acknowledge maybe he should give up play calling. And Jake really wanted me to play this clip because, I think we both find it concerning that where his mindset is when it comes to this. So I want to play the clip where he was asked and then get your reaction off of it.
Deion Miller.
Matt, have you given any more thought or had discussions about relinquishing play calling duties? You mentioned it a bit on Tuesday that would be something that you would even be open to if you felt like it would be best for the team.
No, like I was saying, this is something where we look into everything and we feel very confident with the players we have, with the plays that we're calling, and we realize there's a lot more to it than just that. So like what I said the other day was real. We always look at everything. We evaluated it all, but no.
Matt, I sort of want to follow up on that. You did the other day say that, you're not at that point yet. Do you have an idea in your head of what that point is specifically, however? And do you think when you got that point, when you got there?
Yeah, I again, that's here's what I would say, Cam, to that question is, to me, that feels like a, somewhat of a negative thought that I would have in my head. Like, when is things going to go so bad that I'm going to give up play calling? When are things going to go so bad that we're going to do this or do that? And I know that that's kind of where this world's at today. There's a lot of negativity and people feed off of that. And we love all that stuff right now. Negative. That's just not where we're at or where I'm at. We try to focus on the positives, and we feel strong about that. I feel strong about it. And that's, I try, I understand the question, but I really try hard not to go there, so it's winning's important to us. Winning's important to this city. Winning's important to our organization. And that's what we want to focus on right now, is winning more than anything.
So your thoughts on that, because, Nagy's no shortage of words. He's starting to veer into the Trestman-ish, kind of verbiage, but, your thought process when it comes to, some people call it his ego when it comes to the play calling. Do you think, not to steal Jake's question here, but do you think that do you think he's worthy of being a play caller, or is he just somebody that can scheme guys open, on a piece of paper and write the play, but when the game is on the line, he can't call the plays in situational moments?
I think we saw a good example of a guy that is a seasoned play caller when the Bears played the Rams. You look at the way they designed the plays in LA, everything was built off each other. Everything looked the same. The jet sweep motions, they served a purpose. I feel like a lot of times when the Bears are running the motion, they're trying to get an indicator of a man zone, but they're not really using it to stress the defense. So, I mean, is there a threat to hand off on the jet sweep? How often have the Bears done it this year? Maybe twice, maybe 3 times. If there's no threat on that happening, you're not really stressing the edges of a defense. So what's the point? You look at the Rams, and that is a professional play caller. He's been doing that for a long time. We're going to see it again on Sunday against the Saints with Peyton. So Matt Nagy at this point, again, it's 3 years into the regime, and to this point, we haven't seen what he wants to do. I mean, he's kind of all over the place. I mean, he was pretty good in his first season, obviously. Last year, it seemed like he was really stubborn, trying to force feed his version 2.0 offense onto the team. And then this year, he kind of had some moments early with the run, and then he kind of flipped a little bit. And now it seems like he's back to trying to be stubborn Matt Nagy again. And again, part of it's the players, part of it's the O-line. But at the end of the day, you got to put your players in the best position to succeed, and he's got to get out of his own head sometimes. There's way too much going on with the personnel. He's trying to make too many changes. We've already seen him and Foles kind of get into it a little bit as far as, hey, if I'm cooking, I want to cook. Let him be out there on the field for the stuff that's hurry up. You don't have to always bring in so many guys all the time, especially if a guy like Demetrius Harris is not one of your best 11 guys on offense.
Yeah.
Why is he out there as much as he is? If he's not your guy, if Cole Kmet's not your guy, well, then play more 3 receiver set because Miller
or draft a
Robinson.
Or draft a left tackle. If you're not going to use Kmet, use them. But if you're not going to use them, draft a left tackle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was enough on the board at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely. And this is something that even after he made his comment on Monday saying, hey, when we talk about that as a group and if we come to that conclusion, but I'm thinking to myself, if you're having that conversation with your coaches, at what point are one of these coaches going to be like, hey, you know what, Matt, I think it's time for you to give a play calling? That's going to have to be an independent decision. And it seems like every time after a game, besides when he called the offense out, a few weeks ago, he always goes back to it's something else. It's something else. It's not that. And so that was kind of leading into what I was at. We mentioned Demetrius Harris. I was going to ask you, what do you make of these personnel decisions that are being made? Because it is Demetrius Harris where Cole Kmet could be getting these snaps. Like it is a Rashad Coward where you just believe in this guy that you're trying to mold who is a D lineman. When Alex Bars is there, is he that much worse of an option? It's Ted Ginn. Like today they re-up their belief in Ted Ginn, who doesn't look like he wants to be back there at all. And it's just like, at what time, when can you make a big boy decision here and be like, we got to, this is performance based. We got to make a move. So what do you make of some of these personnel decisions?
I think, like I said, I think some of it's just he's stubborn. But to go along with that, I think he's also loyal to his guys. I mean, he brought in Harris in here because he worked with Harris before. He trusted Harris to understand what he wants out of that Y position. And I think until he feels Cole Kmet is at that level where he has the full trust, I think he's not going to make, a full-on switch. I mean, this last week, Kmet had more reps than Harris for the first time all year. So maybe that's slowly building up to where Kmet's going to take those reps. I also think that if there was a real off-season, training camp, OTAs, mini camps, I think Kmet would be a lot further along where he is right now. Because at this point, if it all boils down to he doesn't trust him to run the full offense, then at some point the trust has to happen. And again, this was the very first pick they made. This was, I'm assuming, Matt Nagy's guy. I'm assuming Matt Nagy had a lot to do with getting that pick in here because he wants, he needs a good tight end to run this offense. So this is his guy. So I think as soon as he feels he's ready, maybe he's going to be extra cautious and just kind of, want to make sure before he puts him out there and embarrasses the kid. But I mean, at some point they're professionals. He's a high draft pick. He's a good athlete. He's not that much of a worse blocker than Harris is. I mean, Harris isn't a great blocker to begin with. He's average at best. And if you're Cole Kmet and if you're going to show a willingness to block, and you obviously are a better athlete as far as, with the ball in your hands, go to Kmet. You got to do it.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing it's just this reoccurrence of stubbornness that I'm a little concerned about. Like, do you have the ability to put the ego aside and be reflective and make the right decision? I know you're a major players coach, and I do like Matt Nagy. I'm not trying to get down on him. I do think it may be time for him to give off those play calling duties. I don't know that the most ideal guy is on this team right now to call those plays, which is the other side of the coin. But I like Matt Nagy as a coach. I don't want to see him get fired. I think, the guys respect him. I think he's got the right mentality to run a team. I just don't know that he has the right, in-game decision making that we need at an OC.
I think at some point with Nagy, I think he will give over play calling at some point. But honestly, I don't think he'll do it till he's shown that he's successful as a play caller. Whether that's ego again or stubbornness, I'm not sure what it is, but I just think that from a pride standpoint, he wants to show, that his vision, because he's been on the game for his whole life. He understands the game. He wants to show, what he knows, what he can do, what he can have as his team do. And I think once he gets some success as far as calling plays, I think at that point he may turn it over because he's realizing that is an extra stress being the head coach and the play caller. Not every head coach can do it, and there's no shame in that. But the fact is that he was brought in to do that. So what does it say? What does it say if he decides to give it up? Then if you're Ryan Pace, you're like, well, I brought you in to be the offensive guy. You're not doing that now. Yeah, you're a good head coach, but now he's giving Ryan Pace a little second to pause. So I think it'll happen at some point. But like you said, who's in the staff now? Bill Lazor or DeFilippo?
But how long will it take Matt Nagy to learn that he, while his playbook and his mindset and his scheme probably works, you have to call plays to the people you have, to what you do best. I was listening to Dan Orlovsky today on Cap and Hood again, and he was saying Mike Martz came in at one point and he threw out this whole playbook in front of the whole offense and was like, this is what we're going to run, boys, and we're going to win a Super Bowl doing it. And Dan was like, that's really nice plays. Hey, look at this play. This is a really nice play, but guess what? I'm not Kurt Warner, and we don't have the wide receivers you had. We don't have Isaac Bruce. We don't have Marshall Faulk. And I think that's where Matt Nagy doesn't get it. The Brian Griese thing peels that back.
Yep.
He's been trying to, and it was all of last year too. 2018, he was a hybrid of probably what he wanted to run, but it was still like that ground and pound Jordan Howard stuff. A little bit of that, was still there. But by the time we got to 2019 and this year, I just feel like he's trying to force that playbook when they're not ready to block it. They don't. I think that's where it lies. I believe in the skill position guys they have. I like David Montgomery. I like the wide receivers they have. I truly believe it is an offensive line issue to its core, and it has been since the start of last year with Kyle Long and that whole fiasco. But it's just like, when is he going to learn that you gotta go to your personnel? When is he going to understand that you can't just throw the Rams playbook to a bunch of players that can't use it?
That's what he is. We talked about it earlier. He wanted to run his version, the 2.0 offense last year, and it bit him in the butt. He couldn't do it, and then this year, it seemed like he learned from the self-scouting early in the year. He was doing more running, more play action. And then when he made the switch to Foles, he kind of got away from that again. So, maybe he's just a guy that just, he's a little thicker than most. As Bears fans, we all want him to get it. We all want him to get it right and get this team back to where it belongs. There's a reason with the talent on this team that they shouldn't be a playoff contender every year. They need a few tweaks on the O-line, obviously, but you can work around a little bit, like I said. But you got to be smart about it. You can't come out there in tight personnels and put the defense all real in tight with you, because you can't block at the point of attack. Spread them out and then let your playmakers make some plays.
Okay. No, I completely agree. Jake, do you got anything else for him before we officially cut him loose?
I was gonna say, hey, what do you think about the Saints game? I know these guys are very undermanned. The offense really hasn't shown us anything. There's plenty of reason to be concerned. What do you think happens this weekend on the lakefront?
I'm pretty sure most of us at WC picked the Saints to win. But honestly, I would not be surprised if the Bears came out and won this game. It's been a weird year this year. There's teams winning when they have no reason to win. Again, this offense, how close is it? Is it really close right now? Are they just a few ticks off here and there? We've seen Nick Foles miss on some deep shots, just barely, as far as to Mooney a few times, to Robinson a few times. How close are things to clicking with Foles? And we've seen Foles get real hot before. Maybe it's coming. I'm not sure it will be, but as Bears fans, that's all we got right now is the hope.
Right, and that's I'm in that boat too. This is a great week for them to actually show up and for Nagy to really reflect on all this drama and all this negativity, as he called it, that's kind of being shown down maybe on his effectiveness as a play caller, to actually do something, especially when you see a guy like Kyle Shanahan, who's been undermanned on the old line, who's been undermanned in the running back room, and still gets it done. Like, it can be done if you can scheme it up right.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that this really lights a fire under him to really show us something, because it's been a while. So I'm hoping. I'm not picking the Bears to win, but I hope to see something more than 3 points generated on offense.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm going the other way too. I'm nervous. I picked them to win last week, and I even picked them to pitch a shutout or keep them out of the end zone. That made me look really stupid when the Bears were the ones to not get in the end zone. The defense outscoring the offense, of course. So I'm a little nervous for this one. But so you're saying you have the Bears winning this game?
Me, I have the Bears losing this game.
Oh, okay, so your final score was?
Let's go 24-13.
That's kind of where I've got it too. And
yeah, I'm kind of 27-13.
That means more offensive struggles, and that means we're going to be back to this quarterback talking. I hate talking about it.
Yeah, but you got to be able. The defense is excellent. It's an excellent defense, but my God, you have to be able to control time of possession a little bit here, because these guys get gassed and then they get gashed.
And then of course the injuries, are the other big concern. I almost forgot to bring it up to you because it's a decimated. Before we let you jet, the injury report comes out, and we have Allen Robinson, Khalil Mack, Cody Whitehair all out. It seems like Allen Robinson and Cody Whitehair are definite to be out. Do you think Khalil Mack won't play in this game?
We've seen him in his Bears career not practice and play on Sunday. So, I mean, we'll find out more tomorrow, obviously, at the last practice of the week. But, I mean, if he gets on the field at all, I think there's no way he misses it. If he's held out for a third consecutive day, then I think it goes down to a straight-up game-time decision. I don't think they'll rule him out, because, you want to have that in your back pocket just in case. But, we'll see.
Absolutely. And, we got some guys in the chat saying Mike Thomas was back at practice. So, that's going to give the Bears more problems. So, Lester, before we let you bounce, why don't you let our viewers know where they can find you on all the different social media platforms?
Yeah, WindyCityGridiron.com for all the stuff we write. We also have a podcast channel. We got 4 shows that are running pretty much every week now. And then I'm on Twitter at Wiltfong Jr.
Awesome. And we appreciate your time and everything.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Anytime, guys.
Yeah, like I said, Jake and I have been following Windy City Gridiron since the good old days, way back when, before this whole crazy Twitter world came upon us, and now our phones are never, an inch away from us. So, but I appreciate all the interaction always on Twitter. So keep holding it down on Bears Twitter, and we'll catch up with you here real soon. Hopefully the Bears are in the playoffs. Maybe that's when we'll talk to you next.
Sounds like a plan, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot, man.
Bear down,
sure.
Lester. All right. Lester Wiltfong from you're good from we're both doing it from the Windy City Gridiron, the original gangsters of Bears coverage here in these old it's just, that's what I mean. There's some pretty funny articles I wrote. I would love to pull those up. I'm sure they're deep.
Yeah, I used to love WCG big time. Actually, I had to. Well, I made the decision to get rid of my old account, which was Polish Sausage Ditka Bears, because on Twitter I used to berate Jamarcus Webb terribly. Like, I was such an ass, and I mean he just knew how to get under my skin, because he
wrote poems.
He would write poems, and he would talk about going to McDonald's, and he would performed terribly, and he had like a publicist, and there was just this weird thing. It just always got under my skin.
That's what makes me laugh. Everybody kind of sees me as the Greggy Pom-Poms, Greggy Sunshine. I root for all the players, but I like a good team. Yeah, I'll drink the I'll sauce it up all day for the good teams, but when they're bad, Jake and I would go to practices and we'd be screaming stuff at Frank Omiel and Jamarcus Russell and these guys.
Webb.
Jamarcus Webb. Yeah, absolutely. So, Yeah, I don't blame you there.
Something about the Bears in 7th round O linemen that just become starters because Jamarcus and now our guy Leno was a 7th round O lineman. So
100%. And as we teased before, but before we get to our next segment, we of course always have to hit up our guys, which means you got to pull up some nice soothing music for me, because you know how I like it when I do these advertisement reads. My guy Brian Potter always taking care of us here at Brags in the Stands, and so I would like to say that Lester Wiltfong Windy City Gridiron interview was brought to you by Fanbags Cornhole, Chicago's official supplier of professional cornhole boards and bags. Choose from any of their officially licensed designs or have my boy Brian design a custom set using anything from a selfie to your company's logo. Visit www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS to get 10% off your entire order. That's www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS for 10% off. Step up your game with Fanbags Cornhole. How you like it? I was stumbling out the gates.
That was a good one. You said at what point you said fanbags.cornhole.com. So
damn it.
I have to demerit you on that.
Well, it's a good thing we have the ticker at the bottom saying the correct .com, and you absolutely need to hit up that .com address because, you know, it's getting up to be Christmas season and you want to get your, you know, significant other, something nice. Get your wife a set of bags. You know, she'll love them. And if she doesn't, then you get to have them. That's the old Homer Simpson bowling ball trick. So, you know,
it worked out well for Homer because his wife went and bowled with another man.
That's true. So, welcome to the show, Bear Truth 9. My representation's in the house, and Grant Sims and Brandon and all the usual suspects, Mitch Galloway. We appreciate you guys joining us. And of course, now we bring you, you know, one of our, you know, this segment is just taking the world by storm at this point. And this guy, it has energy that is just, you can't find it anywhere else. You really can't. I don't even think Deion Sanders had this type of energy. This is the man with the quips, the man with the championship ring. Our guy Johnny B in the house.
Up, boys?
I tried to set you up, but I didn't really have anything clever to say. So here you are, Johnny B. How are you, my man?
I'm
Welcome
doing
back.
Well, how are you?
We are ready. We are excited.
Are you guys good? You recovered mentally from Monday night?
Well, that was a beatdown.
All right.
That was a beatdown, no doubt. It was a tough one.
Yeah, it was 24-hour rule, but being realistic about what this team is, absolutely.
Well, I've been listening to a lot of the Chicago radio this week. You know, I've been listening to it this year. I do during the football season anyway, just trying to find out information about other games too. And man, a lot of the stuff that they were talking about is a lot of the same stuff that you guys were talking about, and you know, trying to figure out you know, what to do with the offensive line and the RPOs and the rollouts and, you know, play calling. It's been a mess, but there's only one way to go up after Monday night.
That's right.
You should our head coach should know how to do those things. It should be doing those things.
What are your thoughts, Johnny? Because you're the Chiefs fan. Matt Nagy was your offensive. You're a dialed-in Chiefs fan, too. You go to camp. You go to all the games. So you know about Matt Nagy, and you also know about Andy Reid and this offense. You also knew when the Chiefs weren't quite there yet. They didn't have Patrick Mahomes yet. So you know kind of how this process works. Do you think that Matt Nagy is going to figure this out? And we are a junior Chiefs team that's going to become that one day? Or do you think this is all going to fall flat on Matt Nagy's face?
You know, Matt Nagy for me was like, obviously I was happy that he got the job. I don't think he really ever got control of any play calling in Kansas City. They had talked about it sometimes, and Andy Reid never really said that Nagy was calling the plays. And obviously Andy likes to call his plays, and you know, he takes advice from the assistants, but looking at it now, it's like, you know, that Patterson play on 4th down. I mean, that one play alone, I'm like, what is happening? I'm kind of starting to think that Nagy is kind of, to be honest with you, like if you ever saw Austin Powers, like the mini-me, you know, and it's obviously not as good as the original Dr. Evil. He's just the mini-me. And I know the offensive line is tough. I know the situation with the offensive line, but I'm hearing that the Bears might start a new center on Sunday. And, you know, what do they have to lose? I mean, we had some guys go out for the Chiefs offensive line, and then we ran the ball right down the Bills' throat. You know, it's just about attitude. It's about aggression. You got nobody in there that can move that line in the trenches, then get somebody else in there. Get somebody off the street.
That's
somebody off the squad and try to make something happen.
He's so locked in on some of these personnel guys. Like even like the decision to just repeatedly go to Cordero Patterson in these situations when you have a guy who's an actual running back, you know, on your team who's not getting as many touches as he probably should be, and you just keep as soon as like
that's the scariest one. Like Johnny said, was the 4th and 1 Cordero Patterson, not because it was a stupid play call to the short side of the field, but guess what? This is like the 5th time he's done that. That's the scarier part. Is it's already not worked, and he keeps going back to the well. So I'm very concerned that he's not going to figure it out in Chicago. But it should be very interesting, nonetheless. So
our offensive coordinator now is Eric Bieniemy, who had obviously a really, pretty good NFL career. And if you listen to this guy talk, when Nagy left to go to the Bears, we knew we had him in the waiting to be the offensive coordinator. And I love this guy. Like, I know we're going to lose him after this season. If you just listen to his pressers, he's all about, just being a professional, and just taking accountability and just little things that sound easy and sound simple, but you have to buy in. You have to believe it. I mean, that club dub stuff and all that, players coach, that's all fine and dandy. And it's easy to do that stuff when you're winning. But, you got to pick yourself off the mat and you got to hold yourself. And it starts with the individual player and the coaches themselves and accountability. And, if I was a Bears fan, man, I would try to get Eric Bieniemy. To be honest, if it doesn't get better quick, I would.
There's no way.
I would cut it. Immediately.
That would be crazy.
Because I don't want to lose him, but I know he's gone. Who's going to get him? I mean, maybe
if I'm Eric,
maybe Atlanta, maybe the Texans. I mean, he's going somewhere.
If I'm Eric Bieniemy, there's no way I'm coming to the Bears
because
I'm friends. I know Matt Nagy. Now Matt Nagy's going to get his ass thrown out, and I have no quarterback. I'm not going to pick the Bears. I'm probably going to go somewhere where somebody has a really high pick that I can lock in. Maybe it's even one of these.
He's probably going to go. Let's be honest. He's probably going to go to the Texans so he can coach Deshaun Watson. I mean, if they
I would go to Houston.
How does he not take that job? I mean, they're going to have a pretty high draft pick. They already have a quarterback. They have a left tackle. I mean, a couple good receivers if they can stay healthy. Obviously, I mean that's where I would go. I mean,
it would not be the Bears for me if I were Eric. I would love to have him, and I would absolutely dump Nagy's ass for him. But if
Nagy moved to offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, who was that coach?
I doubt he would even be hired as an offensive coordinator if he was fired. Let's be honest.
Of course.
Ducks line up. Ducks line up.
Thanks, Greg.
Ducks line up.
That's right. We get right into this because last week we debuted our first, premiered our first Brags in the Stands official duck race, the Johnny B infamous duck races, and now we have our own circuit here, and I still have it, so I'm happy to play it for some new viewers. And Johnny basically put this race together, and throughout the week you were able to retweet it and follow the certain accounts. Chris, who was nice enough to give the Jordan giveaway, he's got 2 of these awesome giveaways right here. Johnny's got it in his hand. Here's the full picture, and it's big. So he's got 2 of these to give away, and we are about to announce the winner. But before we do, we might as well play the duck race one last time so they can see exactly. Yeah, we got it because it was that great of a race, and it had a great finish. So this was the race, and
great finish.
And we're going to find out the winners after, but here's the race.
And they're off, and it's Erlacher in the lead, followed by the Kansas Comet. It's 1-2 out of the gate as they stake around the grassy area. It's number 54 with the lead, and who's coming? It's Pure Sweetness, and Walter Payton is in second. We got 54, Doug Big Brian is in the lead, and here comes the golden boy, Tommy Waddle, as they come to the world-famous horseshoe here at duck races. It's Olracker coming around the stick, and we got Waddle, and now we got a bunch of ducks. And here comes Ditka. He's got his shades on. He's got his aviators. Who's it going to be as they come to the split? You go around the outside or short side. It looks like number 54 going short side, and Hester and Sweetness going around the outside. It's Hester going around Dead Duck's curve. And we got a couple guys in the jungle. And it's Walter Payton, number 34 as they come to the flag. And it's Walter Payton coming to the flag. If you can keep your sugar, you can keep your stevia. I'm taking Sweetness all day. Woo! Bear down.
Nice finish.
That was the best thing that happened to the Bears all last week. Duck race.
Can't go wrong with Sweetness. Like I said last episode, I had a chance to meet him actually a couple times over in the Chicago suburbs. I was coaching some basketball against his son. I was at a rival school, and I got to meet him. And nicest guy, athlete maybe I've ever met. You know, pure class and just a beast in every aspect. It lived up to the hype. And he came up to me and introduced himself, which was hilarious to me. Like, he was like, "Oh, hi, coach. I'm Walter Payton." I'm like, "I'm Johnny B." It was awesome. Unfortunately, 4 years later, obviously, it was maybe 3 or 4 years later. But what a guy!
It's exciting stuff, and you had a lot of entries. I mean, you had like over 70 retweets from the race alone. You have such an amazing following for these races because you do such an incredible job, you know, presenting these races, and you are gracious enough, you know, to add these giveaways. And there's nothing you have to do other than retweet the race to win. And if that isn't, you know, a sign of how nice Johnny B is,
he gives away relationships. You know, like you guys were talking about with the last guest, and how it was obviously, you know, everything is expanded now with Twitter and the internet and everything. So I was lucky enough to have one of my partners that has this Jumpman piece, which I know it's not football, but it is Chicago related. And obviously Jordan is a worldwide figure. So it was kind of cool. We did have quite a few entries. And as the people know that we're here for the debut of the race, anybody that DM'd me that was in the chat got a handful of extra entries in the drawing. So that actually increased their odds quite a bit. You know, with some of the Chiefs races, I'll get hundreds of entries. So yeah, a little bit better odds for this one. The first race, I think it was around maybe 1,500 views if Twitter was accurate. I don't think Twitter was accurate. Sometimes I think they're inaccurate on their counts. They do whatever they want to do. And it was showing about 1,500 views, I think, in those retweets, which were entries, which Greg just talked about. So I think my first Chiefs race had about maybe 300 views total. So
come a long way
for the first Bears race. I think that's pretty good. I was happy with it.
Heck yeah.
You've come a long way, baby. And so that's what's exciting about this. And like Johnny said, this is only the first duck race. We're going to have many more, and he's got plenty of other duck races he does for the Chiefs and other things. But for our Brags in the Stands duck races, like Johnny said, going forward, if you want to have an extra chance at winning, if you're watching live and you're able to DM, that's how you're going to be able to, increase your odds of winning. So that being said, Johnny B,
I mean, it's only right if you're here hanging with us in the chat and posting comments and sharing your passions. It's only right that you guys get a couple extra entries.
That's a good one.
It's only fair.
It's a good,
especially as we first get it going here. You know, we give these giveaways before it builds up, because it will probably build up pretty big. I'm anticipating. It gives you just a little bit better odds to win, and everybody likes winning.
Yes,
I mean,
that's right.
And I only give top quality prizes. Let's go.
It's a good incentive, and then you bring them in, you reel them in to maybe tune into Brags in the Stands a little bit, and then what happens? You get Johnny B's picks, and he gives away more. It gives you more opportunity to not only get giveaways but win money. So you're the real deal, Holyfield. Johnny B, you are a man of the people. You are a giver of great things, from picks to giveaways. So that being said, without further ado, I believe you have some winners to announce.
I do have some winners. We talked about the viewership was somewhere around 1,500 views, and Greg, he rattled off the retweets and entries. So the first name drawn was definitely somebody that had extra chances in the drawing that was on the chat last time, and he might even be here. I don't know. He might be in here. I think he was. It's at BBAJEMA 2000 at BBabjama 2000.
That's our Brandon Bama Jamma. Our guy Brandon with the pull.
Yes.
So
and
you
I'll be contacting him a little bit later on a Twitter DM for the next step. And then the second name drawn was at C23V.
Say that again. Say that one more.
At C23V.
Okay.
I will post all that after the show with the photo of the winners and the drawings, and all that will be posted so everybody can see that the giveaway is legit. And then once they get their prizes, I just ask that my winners, post a little something for the show and with my tag, just so everybody in the universe knows that our giveaways are legit and real, because there are a lot of fake ones out there.
Sure. And Brandon, the winner of, one of the two awesome pictures that you're giving away right now, is driving. So Brandon, do not drive off the road. I know you're excited. It's an awesome picture and you have just won it. So, Johnny B will be getting you. Here's Johnny B. He's holding it up, and he will be getting that to you in no time, and you can hang it proudly on your wall. And we appreciate you being a loyal supporter to Brags in the Stands. And this is what we do here. And Johnny B was gracious enough to add into this, and we love to give back to our fans, and we try to do that as much as possible. And going forward, of course, we're going to have Bears, prizes as giveaways, and I'll definitely throw into that pot. I have some cool Bears stuff that we can give away. When I was going to training camps back when we were allowed to do things, I would give away socks. I had the official game worn socks on Sunday or Monday night. That didn't do us any good. So I do have some extra socks. Maybe we can do some stuff like that, and and maybe even some bigger prizes going on. Yeah, we got
custom shirts.
We got some custom shirts.
I had a partnership with one of the guys that I actually met at training camp a couple of years ago that was just starting kind of a show like this, and it's for Chiefs and stuff. And he got really big really quick, and real bunch of good guys, and we're giving their shirts all the way. People love the shirts. They love the merch.
Yeah, that's everybody a good idea.
It's time with Corona, and we're kind of all stuck not doing our normal thing necessarily. We're hoping to get in the stadium. A lot of people are just real appreciative of anything that's, kind of cool and normal. 100%. That's just a distraction to,
you're right.
Stuff,
We can give maybe some of these will be our giveaways going forward. We have the Foles Royce hoodie you can get. It's definitely hoodie season now. That winter is almost upon us. You got the Cash Mooney shirt that Jake's wearing right now. He's got it in gray, but you can get it in blue or any type of color really, and that's what's great about our store. And check out the store. We even got the .com address in the banners, I believe, and somewhere in there, let me find it here.
I got it.
You got it, and then I clicked it off because we're always on the same page. I'm sorry, but yes, you can get those. So maybe for our next duck races, we'll have a cool shirt giveaway or something. We always want to keep the fans happy. And again, Johnny, we can't thank you enough for setting your segment up and doing the giveaway and in organizing everything like you do in great Johnny B fashion. And that being said, go ahead, Johnny.
Quick, though, I do have the second duck race for Chicago Bears Legends filmed already. And if you thought that was an exciting finish, the next finish on the next race is unbelievable. Like, I couldn't even believe my eyes what happened at the end of this race. So we'll announce pretty soon when we're going to do that race. It'll be probably in the next couple of weeks, but it is a thriller. That's all I can tell.
The Thriller in Manila, and you just continue to build up a fan base. Everyone loves you, but that is why they come here. We started our duck race, but the foundation of Johnny B here on Brags in the Stands is, of course, Johnny B for 3, giving away picks so you can make money from your couch. What better way to do it? Free money, people. That's what Johnny B's giving away. Go ahead and fire away, Johnny. Give him those picks.
First of all, I wanted to say I should have been undefeated. I was 3-0 going into Monday night. That's all you need to know. I didn't even need Chicago to win. I just needed them to score a touchdown at the end, and I would have covered. No, unfortunately, last week we were 3-1, which is still outstanding, but we did win the game day pick. So 3-1 last week. We're 11-10 on the show. Getting above 500, we're going to push it forward. But those game day picks from the video that I put out Sunday morning, we're now 8-1 on game day picks. Are you serious? 19-11 overall record in affiliation with Brags in the Stands. And let's get into those picks for this week. We're doing it on a Thursday, which is a day early, so it's a little bit more pressure on me. Who's playing, who's injured, who's not? Let's go. I'm ready. Number one, we're going to go tease. Saints +3, Seahawks +4. If the Bears are in this game, if it's close, it's going to be right there. I think it's going to be a field goal game either way, maybe less. So I'm going to take the Saints +3, the Seahawks +4, tease together. Good value at -129. Pick number two. Rams. They're going in. Obviously a big win, handling the Bears defense pretty decently and putting up some points. I'm going to play their hot streak, and I'm going to take the Rams -3 at -127. And the third pick, I got to do it because you know what's going to happen? Yours truly is probably going to be at the game on Sunday in Kansas City. So I'm going to take Tom Brady and the Bucks -4, teased with the Chiefs with the biggest line. It looks like a college line. But I'm going to tease them down to under 2 touchdowns. Put it together, tease it, -132 for a little value there. And that's pick number 3. And of course, I will be giving my game day pick from Arrowhead Stadium Sunday morning.
Wow.
That's going to be fun.
Some breaking news. That's
breaking.
exciting.
Just got the tickets.
Just got the tickets. I'm getting a little feedback. Are you guys getting feedback?
Yeah, I think it's you.
I'm good.
Well, I'm going to have to remove myself.
I'm good. Testing 1, 2.
How's that? Good?
I'm back.
All right.
I don't know. I got that feedback.
How's that? I mean,
what? I'll tell you what. You guys fire away and get into our picks. I'll be right back. Well, no. So it is Jake because now I'm not hearing it. It's Jake. See? That's how it is. So there it is. Johnny B's picks. And as you said, you had some breaking news. Johnny B going to be in the stands for your first Chiefs game this year. Very excited. Who are they playing?
The Jets. Jets. Jets.
That's why
so you're going to see the Jets. So that means you're going to see a win.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's just one of those kind of like, oh, it's stress-free. Oh, it's a sunny day. Oh, my
fun.
Well, where's our guy Chubb? Yeah, where's our guy Chubbs? Because I
take him out. The game is over. It'll be fun.
Yeah, where's our guy Chubbs? Because he was, kind of talking to you. I saw on Twitter about the spread was astronomical, almost something that you'd see in like a college football game. What is the spread currently sitting for Chiefs Jets?
I think it came out and it was like 21.5. So it was Chiefs -21.5. That's why we were talking a little bit on Twitter, and he was saying like it was a college spread. I believe right now it's down to 19.5, which it's gone down a little bit. But I told him, I think I said something crazy like it's going to be like, I don't remember what I said, 50-10, a -27.5, book it. I did not tell everybody at -27.5. It was just in fun. But, I mean, it could be 50-10. I think our backups could honestly beat them by 30.
They might call the dogs off by halftime.
Oh, boy. So, all right, well, let's get right into it because, we got Thursday night football rapidly approaching. I I don't have anybody going on my fantasy team, so I'm not worried about tonight. But, nonetheless, we're going to try to, keep it quick tonight because we know people want to get to their football watching, including those of us on the show. So let's get right into it. Of course, Jake is the king right now, as you see that crown. Heavy lieth the crown at 70-35 for Jake.
Yeah,
and I'm bringing it up the rear, and Johnny's holding it down right there, and the snug is a bug.
It's getting close. It's a tight race. It's anybody's game. So
you got me still in this? You still got me in this?
You're only down by 4 picks.
I feel so defeated with you guys.
So this week is a little. It might be tough to get a little bit of ground because we're kind of across the board here. So tonight we all have Panthers taking the Falcons down. Then we all across the board have Packers, Vikings, across the board Titans to Bengals, across the board Chiefs, of course. Here's where we get a little differentiation. Greg and I are taking the Colts, and Johnny B's got the Rams.
I just hate the Colts. I don't understand the Colts, and I can't bet on them. I'm going to go off Stafford's last-second victory over the Falcons, even though they're terrible too. I just like that how they won at the end of the game. Maybe they'll have some momentum. That's why.
Yeah, Colts have a good defense. I mean, I think Phillip Rivers might have a little buyer's remorse in Phillip Rivers because he can only do so much, that man. So I think he's holding them back a little bit in my impression of them. But yeah, so we got Pittsburgh and Ravens. So Johnny and I are taking the Ravens. Greg has Steelers. So Greg, you can make a little ground there.
Yep. I went back and forth with that one. That was a tough one. The Steelers are still the only team, I believe, that is undefeated still remaining. Well, and so that just means they're due to lose. Go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, I picked the Ravens just because I want to manifest the Steelers to lose, because if the Steelers lose at this stage of the season, the Chiefs would be the number 1 seed and have the tiebreaker over both the Ravens and the Steelers.
You're doing the Brags thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to manifest it. I'm not betting with my heart. I'm actually like getting in the zone, like meditating and trying to manifest that.
That's fair. That's fair.
I get it. I do the same thing. That's why I rarely pick the Packers or Vikings. But I had no choice this week because they're playing each other. I had to pick one or the other. And then, of course, I picked the Colts over the Lions. I ain't picking the Lions. Sorry, Adam, our good buddy Adam Gray. So, it's going to be interesting. Go ahead, Jake.
So here we got across the board Rams against the Tua-led Dolphins now. So I just imagine Tua coming out and having a hard time against this tough defense. Take him.
I can't even believe they're doing that.
Yeah, I think that was a little
throwing him into the Lions den. Huh?
Yeah, that's an interesting call.
Yeah, but then watch Tua throw for 350 after the Bears could barely get a first down, and this guy's playing his first game coming off injury, and watch him light it up.
I will take that bet if you would like, Greg. I will take that bet. I'll take the under on 350.
Well, I know there's quite a few people that are big on the Dolphins winning that game. A lot of people are, thinking the Dolphins are the real deal, and that's why they are making the move, to Tua, is because they do believe they have a chance.
I think the Dolphins are realizing that they might win more games than they want to with Fitzpatrick, so they're making a move.
Oh, you're going
playing for next year, huh?
Yeah. That's me. I guess the AFC East is definitely in play.
You're right though. Not much disparity this week, and
to be honest with you, looking at this list and these rankings, if I can tie Jake.
Yeah. Oh, you definitely could. Yeah. So we have across the board, we're taking Bills over Pats. Here's another differentiator for you and I, Johnny. Greg and I are taking the Raiders, and you have the Browns in this one.
Oh, yeah.
Chargers across the board against Denver. Saints across the board against Bears. Seahawks across the board against Niners. Eagles across the board against Cowboys. No-brainer. And Bucks across the board against Giants, also a no-brainer. So yeah. So this week's got a little bit of the some big mismatches on paper, so it's kind of easy to make these calls. I think
that's kind of why I did two teases this week. These games are a little bit strange. The lines are pretty huge, and which is kind of a reason why I did 2 teases this week instead of 1. I'm going to take the better teams teased because the lines are so big. So
that's a good point.
That's where it's at for this week with the matchups.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So it should be interesting. You know, I definitely I'm gonna pick the Bears to lose this week, and I hope I'm wrong. But with the injuries mounting up and as pitiful as they looked last Monday night, I just don't see them being able to.
Injuries we're dealing with right now.
Right.
As well.
I just don't see that even in a perfectly, no problems last week and injuries are all good. I always am fearful that are we going to be able to keep up with Drew Brees? Now, the only caveat about the Bears Saints game that is something to take of note is Tracy Butler, the ABC 7 meteorologist, said that it could be up to 50-mile-an-hour winds on Sunday. So I do think that could impact the game. The Bears already can't pass the ball. So maybe the wind could be the great equalizer.
Yeah, well, the Saints can run the football, and they have two adequate running backs.
Yes, they do. So it's going to be a challenge, and I hope the Bears can bounce off the mat. Johnny, like you were, Jake was saying, the only disparity was in that Browns game. What were your thoughts with that Browns-Raiders game, since that was one of the few games we did have a disparity
I didn't think the Raiders looked all too good. The Raiders, they came out okay, but I did not think they looked very good towards the end of that game. I don't know, just some of the Browns are a weird team for me, and I just have a feeling – now that Odell, as soon as he went out of that game, they just started scoring points last week. And they got a lot of playmakers on that team. And I just have a feeling that they're going to show up 2 weeks in a row for the first time all year. I just have a feeling. That's just my gut. I went back and forth on it, and I was looking at the numbers, and I just decided to roll with the Browns. Plus, I figured you guys might roll with the Raiders, and it might be a nice time for me to catch up a little.
Yes. We are. All of us are pretty much neck and neck. Even Greg. I mean, you're 4 games is nothing.
We got,
I'm honestly pretty, because I know Johnny is very smart when it comes to picking all teams, because he really follows the gambling closely, so he knows about all these teams a lot better than I do. And
this would be totally different if we were picking spreads. That would be way different.
And I know Jake is good at retaining all the information across the league, probably better than I'm. So laser focused.
I work at a computer all day,
tunnel
so
vision.
I'm just locked in.
And you're super competitive, so I know that we get into this, and so because honestly, full disclosure for me, I feel like I've been picking blind those first few weeks, as I said, and now I'm starting to get a better handle because I've seen most of the teams now, and I'm following my fantasy team, and that's kind of my way of tracking the rest of the league. But I am surprised that I've been able to keep it close, because I do feel like I pick blind when I'm picking the schedule and giving you the picks each week, Jake. So I'm kind of just holding on for dear life, trying to chip away, but it's hard.
You're doing what I'm doing. I mean, I don't think you have any. I don't have much more.
You're
information
smarter than
you
me,
have.
Jake. I'm a meatball. It's harder with this caveman brain. You do have an advantage. So I don't know if you guys heard, but last weekend I met Mike Glennon. I got some video evidence of it. You want to see it?
Look. Say hi, giraffe.
Say hi. Oh, look at that tongue, Daddy. Oh, he wants the whole thing.
You like it? She wants another. Daddy's got another. Look.
No, he doesn't want the stem.
Oh.
I wouldn't want the stem either. So I think Glennon might be getting. I think you gave him some good luck with that lettuce, because I think he's about to possibly find himself in a starting role. I don't know if that's true or not, but Mike Glennon, because Minshew has some fractures in his throwing hand. So
I forgot he was on Jacksonville now.
Yeah, he's Jacksonville.
Yes. So I just thought I'd share that along with you. I know.
Are they in a bye this week? Or
I think they are in a bye this week.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if Glennon's playing shit, I'll bet that'll be my Sunday pick for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes. So I saw you were texting earlier. I got the. Do you like the new hat? It's kind of tight on me. I got the other new hat I wore for the post.
It's adjustable, isn't it?
Yeah, it is adjustable. So I like the backward.
Do something about that.
I know, but no, I mean like the hat, itself is kind of small. It's a little smaller. On your head.
Spray bottle with water in it. Spray it. and then just put it on, and it might stretch out a little bit too.
Let's see. It's the official Clark. Do I look like? Hold on. Do I look like?
Yes, you do look.
Like if Clark Griswold had a beard, you would be him, and he would be you.
I'll shave. I'll shave soon. Yes, it is. We are like twins, honestly, in this. I watched A Christmas Story. Is that what the name of it? No.
Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation, not A Christmas Story. A Christmas Vacation for the first time last year. I gotta say, I don't know. Are you guys big fans of A Christmas Vacation? Because I like Vegas Vacation more. Christmas Vacation really wasn't my swerve.
You're a Vegas. I don't know, Margot.
Yeah, but you're a Vegas guy. You love going to Vegas. So which, do you like more? Christmas Vacation
right now,
or Vegas Vacation?
I like Christmas Vacation better. The original Vacation is the best, but I have my own Vegas stories that we could sit here and do a 4-year show about. So
we will.
My Vegas stories would trump that. If I made a movie about my Vegas stories, that movie would probably never be watched again by the world or America.
Well, we will definitely do. We will definitely do that show in the off season, and you can tell us all the stories you can get away with without, incriminating yourself. So,
a lot of this stuff I was not, it's legal because it was back in the day, as they say, back in the day.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
you don't want to incriminate you, of course. So I think that about wraps things up for this edition of Brags in the Stands. It was a fun one, and we are excited for you, Johnny B, to get in the stands on Sunday. You're going to beat me to it. I'm under 2 weeks away from making my trip to Tennessee to see the Bears get beat down by the Titans.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I'm excited for that. Maybe we'll pull a miracle. You never know. If I take the trip, they might as well. But I'm excited for you to go to a Chiefs game because I know that you live and breathe going to the games just as much as I do. So you'll have to get some action shots, of course, so you can share them on the show here next week.
Fortunately, I won't be able to be in the 7th row because which my seats are, because it does not exist this year because they're covered by banners. I think I'm about 20 rows up in a similar area that my seats are. So I don't know if it'll be as close to video as it's been in the past. Hopefully we'll get some exciting plays. I'm sure we'll have.
You'll have plenty of exciting plays, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think you'll have
Dirty
a couple.
Dan will take it back again. The pick 6. I like Dirty Dan, number 49.
Yes, of course. So we're excited for you. Make sure you get some good shots. I want to see all. I want you to share it all. You're beating me to it. That's okay. I'm excited for you. And that about wraps things up, as I said. And I want to thank everyone in the chat for hanging with us tonight. Congratulations to Brandon, a loyal supporter of Brags in the Stands. You're getting one of the giveaways that Johnny B was gracious enough to give away here on Brags in the Stands. And then, of course, the other person that won was just a Twitter handle named CBS something. So congratulations to you as well. And I want to say thank you again to everyone that hung out in the chat tonight. We got our guy Jay Channon and Mitch Galloway and Brandon and Bear Truth 9 and all these people that, make the show so much better by hanging with us and talking some football, and then, of course, I want to thank our guest, Lester Wiltfong Jr. from Windy City Gridiron. He was gracious enough to join us tonight on a Thursday night special. We started a day early this week because, we got some plans this weekend. And the lady, my little lady Jenny said, I want to go out, so I gotta listen. And again, we appreciate Lester Wiltfong for joining us here tonight on Brags in the Stands, talking some Bears. And yes, get out there and vote.
I did that a week ago.
We will be talking on the post game, and we'll give you another friendly reminder on Sunday. Yes, get out and vote. Do your public duty or whatever they call it, patriotic duty, and get out there and vote. I'm going to do it early and get it done on Saturday. Jake has already got his done. And Johnny B, have you got yours done?
Yeah, I did mine about a week ago.
All right, so I'm the last one left here on Brags and Stands. Get mine done. I will. So that was a good reminder. And so we'll see you on Sunday. We got a late start for a 3:25 kickoff for Bears versus Saints. Look out for Johnny B's, game day giveaways and picks that he's going to do.
Pick coming live this Sunday.
That's
from
right, Johnny B.
Arrowhead Stadium.
Johnny B, do you want to give your official Johnny B wrap up that you always do, and then I'll do my wrap up.
Johnny B-side here, reminding you that money won is far sweeter than money earned. And make it rain. Johnny B is out. We'll see you on the flip side.
All right, Johnny B. Doing the duck race giveaways. We'll be doing more duck races here on Brags in the Stands. And thank you again. Thank you to Lester. Thank you to everybody hanging out. And, of course, thank you to my great friend, Jake. You know, you're always holding it down for me and getting us through this and making sure I don't ramble too long at the end. So that being said, that concludes this week's edition of Brags in the Stands. We'll see you on Sunday, and let's hope the Bears got their stuff together, but we will find out once and for all. So have a great night, enjoy your weekend, and always bear down.